Okay, please excuse me, my voice might be a bit hoarse or whatever. I've been sick for the past week, unusually at this time of year. I was very sick. Um, I wanted to bring this video about a week ago to address this stupid final experiment nonsense that they're going on with the borders. But anyway, I couldn't get around to doing it, but I'm here now, right? Not too late, just not as early as I'd like it to be. I'm often end up that way. So I have a couple of points, 3, maybe 4 points to make about this, right? 5 points, right? I'm going to make about this. It's called the final experiment, right? Just a rundown of what it is. It's going to be a group of ballers want a group of flat earthers to go with them to Antarctica. Not sure of the date, doesn't matter. Sometime in the southern summer, and they're going to go to 79 degrees south. And supposedly they're going to film a 24-hour sun if it's there, right? That's the basics of it. Now, most people are getting caught up in with some red herrings here. The word experiment. They're focusing on the word experiment, saying that's not an experiment, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's not. It's not an experiment, right? But that's a red herring. Don't get drawn in by the red herrings, right? They're calling it the final experiment because they want you to chase that word, right? Obviously, number one, don't follow that word, right? Number two, the second part is people are talking about how it's just a begging the question fallacy. It is, because they're saying if the Earth is a globe, then there'll be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. If they can film a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, then that means it's a globe. But that's a complete begging the question, fallacious thinking. You know what I mean? It's about, that one doesn't follow the other. And so, is that true? That is about? Yes. Is it true that they're pre-assuming the outcome? Yeah, it is. That's true, 100%. But that's another red herring, right? I'm going to point out a couple of things here that people need to pay attention to. So, the first point is don't follow the red herrings. Second point, right? I don't know what the sun is. I don't know how it does what it does, what it's comprised of, anything. Right? It's a mystery to me. So there being a 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't make any difference to me. I couldn't even guarantee that there's only one sun. Now, I'm not saying there is more than one sun. I'm saying I couldn't guarantee that there is. If someone asked me to prove that there's only one sun, I've thought about this. I couldn't prove it. So I don't know what the sun is, how it does what it does, what it's made of, anything else. And I know that nobody else in the world does either. Mark my words. I've researched it. If you trust me, if you're a flat earther and you trust me, mark my words. There's a lot of information I've never brought out. Nobody knows what the sun is. Absolutely no one. Right? You can only make a few guesses at it. That's it. And even at that, you can't verify it because you can never go there. You can't get there. You can't get to it. So nobody knows what the sun is. So there being a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, only and that doesn't prove a globe. It just extrapolates out on the mystery that's already there. I don't know what the sun is, nor the moon, nor the stars, or anything else. Neither does anyone else. There's going to be people out there who will claim they do, but most of these people are fit into either one or two categories. Either they fit into the category of category of being delusional, thinking they have information and knowledge, right? Not realizing the starting point of that, or the fact that they're fooling themselves and others, or the second category where they're just frauds, they're just telling lies, right? So those are the two categories. Anyone who's claiming to know what the sun is, how it does what it does, what it's comprised of, etc., they fit into one of those two categories, right? So that's the second point. So first point was don't chase the red herrings, and you'll see why in a minute, right? With the last point. The first point is don't chase the red herrings. Second point is nobody knows what the sun is, so nobody can guarantee that there is or isn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. It doesn't make any difference if there is. Not to me, it makes no difference. That doesn't change me. That's all right, now I know what the sun is. No, I still don't know what it is. That doesn't change the mystery. It just adds to the mystery. It makes no difference to me. There being a 24-hour sun in the southern summer in Antarctica, that makes no difference to me because I don't know what sun is or how it does what it does. That doesn't change the Earth being a flat, stationary, enclosed, self-automated dynamic system, which is what it is. Flat, stationary, enclosed, self-automated dynamic system. Right? It won't change that at any point. Right? But on to the next point. What the ballers are looking for out of this is twofold. Right? Number one, this is the next point. They want flat earthers to agree with them that if there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, right, that this 24-hour sun means that it's a globe. And when flat earthers naively agree to such things, which they will do and have done, right, what will happen then is the flat earthers will then be stuck. Because you can't go back, you can't go, oh, it's a globe then, and then look at reality again and go, hang on a minute, it's still not a globe. And then try to go back. Because what happens when you try and change your mind and go back, the ballers will then use that against you and character assassinate you and call you dishonest or just dishonest or unstable, as in your unstable, as in your what's the word I'm looking for? Unstable, as in your decision making. So that means you stating anything means nothing because you're likely to go back on it at a later date. So it means that you're not. It's like you can't be trusted because people who keep changing their mind can't be trusted. They can't be trusted with anything because they say to you could be wrong because they're likely to change their mind on it a week later. You just you can't trust people. Can't give your trust to people who can't make up their mind or keep changing it. You can't do that. And that's what they'll do. So they'll either make flat earthers out to be inept or dishonest, one or the other. And either way is a character assassination. And our opposition's best weapon against us has always been, this is before the past 10 years now, has always been character assassination. All my time in this arena, 10 years next year, or 10 years this year, all my time in this arena, every time the name Samuel Rowbotham was brought up, for years and years and years, some baller is saying he was a liar. Now, I don't know, I never read any of Samuel Rowbotham's books. I only know some bits, I do know some bits about him, but I didn't read his book and different things like that. Now, I've been shown no evidence that that man is a liar or dishonest or anything else. He may have been, but I have not seen any evidence. But I did hear the claim that he was from every baller that was in a conversation where his name came up. Every time. For the best part, for 10 years now, basically. So all they need is something to character assassinate you with. And that's what they're going to use this, right? That's what they're going to use your concession, that it is a globe, if they do film a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. That's what they're going to use that. When you concede to that, you're either going to have to be stuck with that, something you won't be happy with because you won't agree with it, you're going to change your mind on it. Or you'll go against it and they'll call you either inept or dishonest, one or the other, and that way you're character assassinated. And that's all they want. They need the public, the general public, to see flat earthers as being either inept or dishonest, one or the other. Inept, crazy, or dishonest, it doesn't matter. But just inept or dishonest is good enough for them. And if they can do that, then that's their job done. So, which leads us to our fourth point. What is this really? They call it the final experiment. It's not. It's the final hand wave. Because what they're trying to do is use this. They're basically ignoring the past 10 years of epic destruction that has happened to them at our hands. They're going to hand wave away all those things with this. So if they can film a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, that's all they need to hand wave away all All they're hand waving away that the horizon is not geometric, that aerospace, celestial navigation, GPS, surveying, all reference a massive horizontal stationary plane. Astronomy, massive horizontal stationary plane. They all reference that. Why do they reference that? Because the Earth is not a globe. All the information that shows that their whole paradigm is back engineered from a massive flat stationary plane with celestials that move above it. All of their paradigm is back engineered from that. And all the information that's happened in the past 10 years, they'll hand wave away all of that with this if they can. And that's what they are attempting to do, because they've got nothing else. They've reached the point where they have nowhere else to go, nowhere else to turn other than this. Now, there might very well be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, just because there's been several videos that were shown to be fraudulent, right, over the years, doesn't mean there isn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, people who've been there and stayed there said they never experienced a 24-hour sun in the southern summer at any point. But that doesn't mean that there isn't one. So if they can produce one, that's all they need, right, to, first of all, character assassinate flat earthers who agreed that that means it's a globe, what doesn't mean it's a globe. And number two, to hand wave away the fact that they don't have a geometric horizon, that their geometric horizons in the maths, the celestial navigation, aerospace, GPS, surveying, astronomy, all reference a massive stationary plane. They can hand wave away all those things with just this one thing, and that's what they're attempting to do. That's why they call it the final experiment, because for them, this is the final it. This is it. The last battle. This is it. Now, I could go into more conspiratorial things, more things that are kind of make a few points that are a bit conspiratorial. I decided not to do it. Things that really probably don't really need to point out right now, but I'll point them out in the future if needed. But I will link a video that I made concerning Antarctica probably sometime last year, and I'll link that in the chat, in the description of this video, and you're welcome to look at it, because it just points out some stuff, very basic things, doesn't prove or disprove that, and it just points out some pretty strange things. And I'd like you to remember they're going to 79 degrees south. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this, and I don't care. It doesn't change anything for me. But if you agree with them that this means that if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica and you're a flat earther and you agree that that means it's the globe, because you can't explain it on your flat earth. You can't explain anything in the sky on your flat earth. The sky is a complete mystery. You know nothing about it. Just letting you know. You don't know anything about it. So stop trying to explain stuff about it, because you don't know anything about it. You can't go there, and you're not going to know probably anything about it. You'd be very lucky if you ever do find out anything about it. So stop sticking with what can I explain, or who cares what you can explain or can't explain. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to show that the Earth is a flat, stationary, self-automated, enclosed, dynamic. That's it. It's a flat, stationary, self-automated dynamic system. That's what it is. Enclosed dynamic system. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to explain what the sun is or how it does what it does. You don't need to do all that. It's unnecessary. These things are unnecessary. So don't go conceding to these people that it means that it's a globe, because what's going to happen is you will have to go back on that, because you will look at reality and go, hang on, this actually doesn't mean that it's a globe. It just means that it's another part of the sky mystery that I don't understand. That's all it is. So don't do that to yourself, because you are hurting me and everyone else when you do that, because you're going to allow these people to character assassinate us with your indecision. So don't do it. Don't agree to this. Because what this is, as I said, is the biggest hand wave in history, because that's what they're trying to do. It's like two armies, and one army absolutely decimated the other army for 10 years. And we were the army that was losing were monstrously bigger than the army that was winning. Right? So how bad does that look for them? So do not allow them to just hand wave away those 10 years. with your indecision and your stupidity. They don't deserve it. Don't let them do it. Don't let them have it. Thanks for listening.